Today is October 22nd, 2022. Current physique update. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is, I guess, the 1 week update on the start of my journey to health and wellness and fitness. So I started this out last week at 333-ish. The scale errors out at 330, so anything above that, the accuracy is probably pretty close, I would imagine, but then it errors. So anyway, it errored at 333 point something. This week I was 327.4, so approximately 6 pounds down. I'm pretty satisfied with that, as this week didn't go perfect. It wasn't terrible, but nowhere near where it needs to be. I didn't get any real exercise in outside of just normal daily walking activities. Food, I had lunch out at work 3 times this week. A burrito, another day it was like a buffalo chicken wrap from Arby's, and then tacos on Friday. So, and then there's other little things too, like gas station beef jerkies, like low carbohydrate stuff. I like smoked sausage that I get from this one truck stop. It's outstanding. So these are low carb foods, like 1-2 carbs per serving, and they're higher fat. However, the jerky I buy is low fat because it's made out of lean cuts, I think like Top Round or something like that. But anyway, the point is what I anticipated last week is that what I was most concerned about with trying to do like an OMAD diet or fasting, with just having like dinner every night, was that I would struggle with lunch during the day. I don't struggle in the morning, pretty much just have coffee when I get up, have that black, and then it's usually lunchtime that becomes tough. Everybody I work with is like going somewhere good to eat. It's hard to say no, and especially when you're starting to get kind of hungry, jumping right into intermittent fasting and doing OMAD is kind of a tough thing to do unless you have, like, I don't know, less, temptations in front of you. And I have a lot of temptation on a daily basis. So what I'm going to start doing to combat this is actually just switch to doing intermittent fasting, like something close to like 18 hours fasted and 6-hour eating window, because that'll allow me to have my lunch around 11 o'clock and have my dinner around 5, and that should be really easy for me to adhere to, because that's kind of what happened this week. The only thing that was negative was that the foods I would consume during the day at lunchtime would end up being like foods I picked up from like a restaurant, or like snack foods like the smoked sausages or jerky from a truck stop or gas station. So the two drawbacks to that is, like, I'm not controlling what foods I'm getting for the most part. It's also contributed to me eating foods like burritos and tacos, basically all the restaurant food. I tried to be reasonable too, like I didn't overdo it like crazy, like order a bunch of stuff, and like with the burrito, I just got the burrito. I didn't get the beans and rice to go with it. Same thing with tacos, kept it real simple. But anyway, there's still carbs there nonetheless, and right now in my situation, I'm trying to limit carb intake so I can keep my blood sugar down. Overall, my blood sugar has been better this week than it was last week, fasted and post meals, so there is improvement here. Anyway, so the two big things that I want to do is switch to the 18-6 so that I can control the food. I'll just bring food with me to work, therefore I'll eat what I bring, and limit the amount of extra stuff that I end up buying. So that's basically the only big flaw. I did have a couple keto-friendly cocktails, basically spirits and diet mixers, during the week, and those, it's not the end of the world, but it also slows down progress. So I'm a big fan of cutting out alcohol when you're really trying to focus on losing weight. When you drink, basically your body stops burning all the other macros and focuses on that. So if you're eating like dinner and have a cocktail or two with it, you're definitely going to probably store some of that food unless you're being active enough to burn off the alcohol and then start burning the calories. Basically, your body prioritizes alcohol. So I need to kind of get rid of that. Kind of on the flip side, bright note, this is the third week in a row that I didn't purchase any of the typical craft beers I drink every weekend. So I guess that's a small win, or actually kind of a big win. I really miss that. Like that's every time I see what the local breweries are putting out, I'm like, oh man, I want that. Especially since in Chicago, it's like there's new beers every week. So there's always that whole, like I'm a sucker for new fast food items. And so I guess that also goes into like beer. Like when something's new, I'm drawn to it. So not giving into that temptation, I'm pretty proud of myself for that. So the two things I'm going to fix for next week, or maybe three things. I'm going to do 16 and 8 intermittent fasting. That will allow me to control what foods I'm eating and make it more doable. And I might just stick with that. We'll just see how it goes. I'd really like to get into doing OMAD, but one of the drawbacks for me with OMAD that I found in the past is just my ability to eat a ton of food and not feel kind of blah afterwards. So splitting my daily food intake into two medium-sized meals actually kind of makes me feel more comfortable. And it works. I've done 16 and 8 intermittent fasting windows years ago and had great luck with that. So if I can adhere to this, I think it'll be good enough. And then, like I said, control the meals, cut back on any alcohol consumption at all. I am going to still do like shotgun Sundays. I'd really like to not give up everything entirely. So shotgun Sunday beers, like one beer, one tall can. I think I'm going to make that something I do. And then that way I can still take part in a lot of the beer groups I'm in. I really enjoy that. Don't want to like walk away from that entirely. And most of the beers I'm drinking are pretty reasonable calorie-wise, carb-wise. So it'd be just like one beer a week. If I can get to that point, I think that's a pretty awesome compromise, considering like pretty much like beer every day. But Brewer's Advent Calendar, I'm looking at it over there in the beer fridge. I bought that last month at Costco before any of this took place, where I decided to make some lifestyle changes for the better of my health, or betterment of my health. And so I bought the 2022 Advent beer calendar. And so basically I'm going to be having one beer a day for the month of December. So the 1st to the 24th. I plan to do that. So that's also kind of, I guess, a little bit of a bump in the road. Not ideal, but most of the beers that were in that calendar box last year were like really light beers, mostly Helles lagers, which is like a really light beer, low alcohol, or like a light beer type alcohol, 4%. I would assume pretty low calories also. So that was the majority of that box. There were some beers in that were probably a little higher in calories and carbs, but at the end of the day, if I'm not eating other sources of carbs, I really don't even think that will impact being in ketosis at all. I mean, ketosis is sort of the goal, but like I said, I'm just trying to be reasonable with things and focus on a meat-based diet. Basically foods that are not going to spike my blood sugar and require my body to have an insulin response, or high one or big one. So anyway, starting to ramble on again, and I apologize. But yeah, that's basically how the week went. Those are the goals. I guess just quick recap. I'm going to switch to an intermittent fasting window of like 18 and 6 just to make it more doable for me to succeed at this. Just because, like I said, I'm not good with the temptations and why fool myself. So we're going to do that intermittent fasting window change. That way I can control my food. I am meal prepping, so that's not an issue. And then basically like cut back like all cocktails during the week. Not that it's like any like crazy amount, but just anything, just get rid of it. It's just empty calories, and also hindering progress, and then exercise more. I guess that's one thing I didn't mention. I didn't really do any additional exercise, or actually I think I did mention it, but anyway, I'm going to try to do some deliberate exercise so I get back into the swing of doing that. And I'll see you next week, hopefully for a positive update and continued progress on weight loss and doing a better job at sticking to the program. So anyway, that's all I got for you this week. Hope everyone is well. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.